Okay people, it's time to get some fun on, specifically digital fun. I recently came across the 2021 Fun Report by Third Sense, and we'll get to who they are in just a moment. But sticking with the Fun Report, I discovered several things. 1, there are new forms of fun. Fund, funning, funnier, and funnest. All legit words of fun. 2, there is internal fun and external fun. 3, COVID spoilt our fun, except for some memorable moments on Zoom. 4, fun is important at work, but previously frowned upon by senior management. And 5, there are people who think their organisation should be less fun. Joining us today to take us through the 2021 Fun Report is Colin Cardwell, CEO of Third Sense. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you.
Tell me, I just need to get this straight. There are people that think their organisations should be less fun?
Yeah, sadly, there are still people around who think that there's no place for fun in the workplace.
And it was astonishing because the negative people, it was a consistent between 5 to 11%.
Yeah.
We should have less fun, we should do less of this, less of that. I was trying to picture what they look like.
I think just picture Karen. No. I think it's difficult because we have struggled for a long time to get this balance between having fun and maintaining productivity in the workplace. And a lot of people don't realise still that the two actually go hand in hand, and fun increases productivity.
Do you know what the other thing I did while I was reading the report? I made a little Angela.
Okay.
Because you allow that.
We do.
You can go in and make a little, I know, I made a little Angela, slightly shorter than me. And I did eventually get the hair kind of right.
Yes.
And then I went, ooh, I can wear different outfits. And I thought that was really cute.
Cool.
And then I
That's great.
downloaded it and saved it, but I couldn't find where I put it. I might have to do it again. I did
That's okay.
search and I'm like, I must have pressed save somewhere. But I thought that was an interesting, fun thing to do. And that's what you do. That's what Third Sense is. You are game designers for business.
Exactly right. Yes. So we look at applying the methodologies or techniques that game designers use to create business software, either for internal use or external use.
Now, you've been around since 2001.
Yes.
You've been around a little bit longer than that.
Yep.
400 games, 60 apps.
Yes.
Okay, it's a massive industry though, and we
It
don't
is.
realise. Now, the other thing that I loved when I checked out the report is that the game industry is essentially made up of SMEs.
Yep.
Lots of small business owners,
Correct.
and that's why there's high levels of innovation and creativity.
Absolutely right.
Another plus.
Yeah, exactly. When you look at, the games industry is already bigger than movies and music industries combined. And yet it is far more innovative because of all of the smaller players in it. So
We
it's moving
forget,
at an incredible pace.
because we're on our phone, we're using apps all the time for something.
Yes.
Right? Now, I know that you, one of the apps you've built is for kids. Well, there's several that you've built,
Several
but
for kids, but
for
yep.
eggs,
The
for
reading
finding,
eggs.
the
Yep.
reading eggs.
Yep.
And my nieces and nephew have used that.
Yep.
And
Great.
I didn't know that you were behind that. But you can always tell how successful an app is or designed as well, interacting for kids, because they don't get this special look.
Exactly.
Because I see my nephew literally, when he doesn't like something that works, and he's only 2, if it's an easy flow or he only has to touch it once and it makes sense, he's calm. He gets extremely agitated when he's got to just, they start poking at everything, right?
Yeah.
Eventually the iPad gets picked up and banged as well, which is another problem. But if they don't have fun,
That's exactly right.
they're not happy and they don't learn.
Exactly right. And reading eggs is a great example. It's where we, as far as the parents are concerned, the kids are learning. As far as the kids are concerned, they're having fun and playing games. And so everybody wins.
Yes. Yes, but they are actually learning.
But they are actually
and they're learning
Yes, exactly.
eye-hand coordination. There's a reward there. There's a true
Absolutely.
reward there.
Yeah.
Now, the other app or game that you're behind, and I don't recommend this as a dietary option, but it's the McDonald's one.
Yes,
And that's gone gangbusters.
it did. So that got to #1 in the Australian App Store. And again, at face value, it can look like a simple little game, and it is a relatively simple game. But on the commercial side of that, it's really a data collection machine that generated in 3 months over 600,000 new contacts for McDonald.
And the challenge there was the millennials.
Exactly right, who are a tough group to get hold of. McDonald's certainly found that they lose a chunk of that audience as people get into their 20s. They start to discover more food options.
Yeah.
And so this was a way of getting them back into restaurant and discovering some of the new things.
It's interesting that even an organisation like that, and because the bigger they are, the less creative they are.
Yes.
But going down the app game path
Absolutely.
makes them look very smart and wise.
Indeed.
Okay, now look, let's bring it back to the fun report. And essentially it deals with what fun looks like in 2021.
Yes.
At work, at play, how much fun your organisation is to deal with and work for.
Indeed.
Deal with and work for.
Exactly.
So we're looking at fun from two perspectives.
Exactly.
The customer and the employee.
Indeed.
Or the team. Okay. What discoveries or conclusions did you find, besides the fact that there are some people who think you should have less fun at work?
So there is a small proportion of people who think you should have less fun, but the vast majority recognise that in the working environment, fun is very, very important, and it does increase productivity, really improves the culture, and kind of makes going to work for some people worthwhile. Same with the customer. If customers are having fun through their buying experience, then it's a more enjoyable experience, and they're more likely to come back and buy more. It's really that simple.
Now, I have, throughout my business lifetime, some 3 decades, and yes, I was 2 when I started, when you have a look at software in a business or platforms that you might use, you tend to hate them if you don't have a tech background.
Yes.
And even if you do have a tech background, because basically you just Control-Alt-Delete, that's all you ever learn to do. But what people don't often understand when you go to someone to design an app or a game, they often really don't identify with the user experience.
Indeed.
And for some reason, I don't know why, but they build layers and layers and layers that people get extremely frustrated and get the Angela look which is you end up banging a keyboard because it won't do what you want.
Indeed.
Or it's too hard to use all the time, which is how some of the accounting platforms used to be in the olden days.
Indeed.
So what is unique about your business is that you get it. You get the user experience. How did all this, how have you married the optimum of producing design, functionality, user experience, and fun?
So I think it's, the first thing is, I think we mostly get it. I would never say that we completely get it.
Okay.
Because this is something which is constantly evolving and changing. But what we do is we look at the games industry, and the games industry is by far the most successful technology business, and they can't pay people to play games. In fact, the reverse. And so we borrow our ideas from that industry.
Because most of the games or the apps are free.
A lot of them are free, but they actually extract money from people, and people have to enjoy using them before they'll do that. So we use what they do.
You've come at it from that perspective.
Absolutely.
Game designers for business.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, companies typically don't consider fun when they design and build software. They have that view or the lens at this end of the tunnel and don't understand the journey along there.
Indeed.
So you create business software that people love to use.
That's the theory.
And often find fun.
Yes.
Right? So that's the good. But why did it take so long for fun to become a factor? Why? If it's there, because you're saying it's there.
Yes, indeed. And I think it's because I think one of the biggest challenges we have in a work environment is that managers and leaders tend to leave fun to social interaction. They don't think there's anything they can do to make fun happen. And yet, ironically, we have people come away from work, they go home, and they get their fun on these devices these days, and not just in games, but they're watching fun videos, they're watching or they're social media, and they're engaging with others, but they can't quite do that or do the same things at work. Or some people do it, some companies do. But
did COVID present a silver lining in terms of suddenly we were all forced to use a lot more tech in some way with remote working, and then we have now discovered there's a big disconnect often in companies now, which is why they want people to come back to the physical office, because so far away, isolated, they have to actually find a way to make the experience of work fun, because that's the challenge for productivity.
Well, this is it, yes. And I think what's happened is over the last 12 months is we've seen that there's been an increased dependence on technology. So they've gone, hey, Zoom meetings work. They don't have to be face-to-face. But there isn't the same level of social interaction. There isn't the chit-chat before the meeting and the chit-chat after the meeting, where a lot of the traditional fun happens. And so it's actually probably more important than ever that companies now start to look at how can they make their technology more fun to use, because people aren't getting it in those other ways. And
it's boring. I mean, I have to personally sit through some Zoom meetings that are 7 or 8 hours. And I will look for sharp implements and imagine
Indeed.
doing harm somewhere, usually to the device, because at the hour 2, I'm like, I'm done. And there is no more fun. No. Except for the chat room where several people can start to have conversations that, you know, you kind of cross your fingers and hope no one else is going to see and you don't press to all. Or you hope that someone walks behind someone in the other room in a bad way. And those are the only ways have been to have fun, right?
Indeed.
So I don't know how long. I want to have a Zoom experience of some kind where I can press like hearts and smiley faces and maybe even change, you know, put little ears and stuff
Change
like you do on the app on your phone. I want to do that on Zoom.
Well, you should be able to, indeed.
Well,
come on, somebody needs to build it.
What's going on? Okay. Now, interestingly enough, you still had a 50-50 split on gender replies to the survey in the report. So you got just as much information from men and women.
Yes.
And when you went into the gaming stats, I was interested to know that a big chunk of people, adults, are the ones playing games.
Yeah, look, there's still a misconception that games are for kids or young adult males. The average age of a gamer in Australia is now 34 and 47% are female.
And another big chunk of them are over 65.
Indeed, it's one of the biggest growing areas in the world of games. And some of this is people who are wanting to keep their minds active. So a lot of these are puzzle games or word games, but they tend to spread out beyond that as well because games are fun.
So there's hope for all of us. Now, benefits of gaming for business, right? You can make your brand more memorable.
Indeed.
You can stand out from the crowd. You can immerse yourself. So it's an immersive experience, right? Because you just keep going. There's rewards, or it's rewarding for the user.
Yes.
It's shareable.
Yes.
Right? And then the other thing that I love, so the 3 keywords were shareable, data, behavioural data.
Yes.
So I loved those 3 from a business perspective because I can get content out of some kind and I can find out how it's absorbed or used or how it functions, right? So I'm gathering data. And as you said, with the Macca's app, it was a machine.
Indeed.
Right, and gathering that data. So that's really important. Okay. So where do you see it going? Where's the vision moving forward to?
Yeah, so I think what we're really looking for, first of all, is for companies to start to, when they're starting to create a new piece of business software, to say, how do we consider fun as part of this so that we're creating a great user experience? And recognise not that that's something that is just an add-on, but is actually integral to getting people to use the software and also help them gather more data. And so the future is where, as more and more people do recognise this, we're going to see, work is a lot more fun to be. And I think as we see younger audiences who are growing up with more games used in education, more games used in universities now, and simulations and those types of things coming into work will just be an extension of that. And so
it'll be the normal.
It'll be the new norm.
It'll be the new norm. Okay. Well, let's hope that there's games and apps designed to do homework. All of it on your own. Yes. That'd be a nice way as well. Thank you very much for joining us today, and I loved the fun report.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Pleasure.
If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? It's fun. Thank you very much to the Piedmont Studio for making us look and sound good. To the SME Association, what can I say? Without you, I would have no fun and we would not exist. If you have any tips, tricks, comments or stories, you can send them straight to me. news@smea.org.au, and of course we're across all the socials. We'll see you again. Thanks, Colin.
Thank you very much.